I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Sparky.
And Salty and Chip.
Just came back from getting my Tiger Woods on. Beating the hell out of everybody in miniature
You
golf.
beat the hell out of us. You beat me by 5 points.
5 strokes.
Yeah,
Yes.
5 strokes.
That's a lot of strokes.
Not really when you consider
you don't
those
know
19 holes.
You lack so much knowledge of golf. There was only 18 holes. There were 19.
Okay.
How embarrassing.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, shout out to the big homie Vin. Taking care of business.
Every time I hit the ball and it went like I overshot it, I'd look at him just because he had the cutest smile in the world.
Jeez.
I never saw him so happy.
Jeez.
His eyes would like dance. He was like, yes, I'm going to beat her.
I beat you in pretty much everything. That's why you had that meltdown that one day we were playing like categories or something like that.
That's because you were cheating.
Okay.
I can handle you beating.
Shout out to Mayhem.
Yeah, guys, we really appreciate you
Appreciate you.
blasting us everywhere.
Appreciate y'all and the fans who shared us 31 times.
Yeah.
I don't think that you
They
understand.
reposted our freezing, was it Freezing the Moon?
The freezing moon.
Yeah, they said vomit.
I don't think you understand how that works.
Yeah, so we went up in subs, guys.
Appreciate it.
Up in views, anyway.
Appreciate it. I still want to talk to y'all though, because we do need answers for that shit. So
I think you guys are the only ones qualified.
on a serious note, we've been going after Nergal. We've been going after Varg. Mm-hmm. So Mayhem, if you're seeing this, we love you guys very much. One of y'all one of you, I sent an email to Eric Danielson, the leader from Wate, and I said, if you dare.
Talk to some Christians.
I think at some level they're a little bit scared of us, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
we're just so small at this point that they're like, they don't even know we exist.
I'm just being funny.
Hey,
It's just,
you know where my water went?
nobody knows. Actually, yeah, I took something that was thirsty. All right, this is the Vengeful one.
Disturbed.
By Disturbed. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Okay.
Pass me the cover, because if you don't, I'm going to end up knocking this over. Then you're going to call me a name that I don't like to be called.
That's
Of course,
good.
you guys think it's a swear.
Then
It's
all
not.
the SJW foot soldiers are going to be back. Don't call Sori any names. By the way, if you like the shirt, it's called the Sori's Secret Shirt, and we will send you one. If you get us an interview with Varg or Nergal, we'll send you one for free. If you are a member of Mayhem, we'll send you one for free and even sign it.
Yep.
Because I know you guys want our shirts. It's a good shirt. It's very
For
black.
everybody else,
it's very black metal.
unfortunately, you'll have to go to the website to get it. $25.
pay.
Free shipping if you're in the U.S., though.
All right, the
Okay.
Vengeful one.
Pay no attention. This keeps happening to us.
Nope,
Okay.
it keeps happening to you.
Okay, but we do this together, so it's us.
Please hit play.
And go.
It's us in the chaos, taking in the lack of raw humanity. It says in the entire world falling in love with their insanity. Hear the innocent voices scream as their tormentors laugh demolish. No forgiveness for all I've seen, the degradation I cannot forget. So sleep soundly in your beds tonight. Judgment falls upon you at first light. I'm the hand of God. I'm the dark Messiah. I'm the vengeful one. In the blackest moments of a dying world, what have
What's the matter? You okay?
Yeah. You liked it?
I did.
What'd
I
you
really
like
liked it. Oh, I loved the sound of it. I liked how it was like, it like had a rise up feel to it, but it also had like this conquer feel to it. Like there was like a lot of goodness in it. But then the words were a little bit weird because it kind of sounds like somebody that's taking, like that has kind of like deified themselves and they're taking vengeance. But then he kind of calls out, like it sounded like he was calling out people that are in the media, like as the world is just dying and going to hell. Like, people are like recording it. Like, you know, we've talked about that before. Like, here are these people pulling out their cameras and people are getting shot. And instead of helping the person that's on the ground, you're recording it for anything. So you could hopefully get a viral video that's gonna, you know, make you some cash or make you famous. But there's a human being on the ground. Put your fucking phone down. Like, I can't even believe that we have to have this discussion. But anyway.
But we do.
Yeah.
Public service announcement from Sori.
Yeah.
Put your phone down. Somebody's,
If you're like, I can see like if somebody's on a balcony and they can't get down there, like there's a way to like not like.
You can't call the cops.
That's true. That's another balcony. Well, let's say the cops are down there and you're recording from your balcony. Maybe that's the only exception.
But why would you do that?
Why would you record?
Why would you record in the first place?
You know, cops do sideways shit that if people didn't record, we wouldn't know about. I don't know if you're aware of that.
That's ridiculous.
What if
People, some dudes get shot in the hood. He's the first person he calls the police.
They do?
Who are you gonna call? Davon? He ain't gonna know how to fucking suture your wound. You're bleeding out in the street.
Anyway.
I can always tell when somebody hasn't been in a situation.
Why? No, I haven't been in a situation.
Police, the first thing you're looking for.
I'm
First thing you're looking
surprised
to
that
call.
you guys are.
Yeah, police.
Nobody
and
wants to answer the
and
police,
and
though.
The paramedics. Well, we're not gonna say who shot him. Well, I mean, like I
want
said,
help.
Davon can't go in and suture
Right.
that wound.
All right.
Guy's bleeding out in the street. Believe you me.
911
Yep. Because nobody knows the paramedics.
in America.
Nobody knows the paramedics.
Nope.
So this is the person he's observing the chaos, taking the lack of raw humanity.
Yeah.
It's as if the entire world's fallen in love with their insanity.
Oh, I didn't even hear that part.
That's a good point.
Yep.
That's a good point. And you know, like, the more and more you see stuff happen, the more and more it's like, whoa, like, we're really insane, like, all of us. It's like, oh, Bin Laden killed a bunch of us. So our solution is to go and kill a bunch of
them.
other people. Like, it's really, really
Solution
insane.
for everything is always killing. I remember when I was in school and we were playing chess, and that game had just like been introduced to me, and people were playing it, and I was like, why don't people do this instead of fighting wars? We'll just have a big chess match, and the winner.
Then the Russians,
whatever.
the Russians would win everything because the Russians are like masters of chess.
Well, no, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, but, and then I was like picturing two guys, and then the winner is celebrating, and the loser's angry. Then he flips the table, and it turns into a big fight, and it inevitably turns into another war.
But a lot of these generals and shit, they're still playing chess. It's just they're playing with human
I
beings.
know, but that's crazy.
It's still chess.
Yeah, I know. I know it's chess.
As their tormentors laugh through all of it. You know that guy, the dude that fooled all those gun people into saying all that crazy shit?
Are we gonna do a reaction to that?
Well, we were supposed to, but somebody shot it down. But anyway, like,
Well, that's because it wasn't the original. Like,
Dick-
I like to hear stuff for the first time, but I would do it.
Dick Cheney.
We've got stuff to show you people.
Dick Cheney was Bush's vice president, and everybody was saying that he was really the shadow president. He was like the real president or
Yeah.
whatever. And so, like, this guy is playing a role, right? And he's got this big water jug, and he's like, sign my waterboarding jug. And Dick Cheney signed it because he didn't know what was going on, you know? He's like, oh, I've never had that before. And it's like this instrument of torture. Of course, I mean, waterboarding is definitely a terrible... I mean, you feel like you're drowning, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that, you know, if you go through SEER training is survival, evasion, resistance, and escape.
Yeah.
You know, they put you out in the woods and you go around and you're like supposed to evade your captors, but then you inevitably get captured. This is training that you get.
Yeah.
And depending on the level of, you know, what you sign up for, your MOS, it's even more or less intense. But long story short, like, a lot of our troops have been waterboarded during SEER training. it's like, oh, it's this horrible torture, but like we put all our troops through it. Of course, the answer to that is you know that you're in training.
Well, I
so
was
you
just
know you're not
say
gonna.
That's different because you know you're in training and you know that the people that are doing it don't hate you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know. Like, but that tells me that it's psychological. Both of the things are happening, but there are psychological factors that go into it, and you know, have people died during
water party?
You know, rendition exercises. I'm sure they have, but as their tormentors laugh through all of it, no forgiveness from all I've seen. The degradation I cannot forget. That's an interesting line. Because you know what people never consider?
What?
Like, everybody wants God to be like, I'm a big lover of the God of the Old Testament. I love him. Like, he's my favorite person in the world. You don't really like him that much.
Well, I like your version when you talk about him. But what
my version is the Bible.
Yeah, I know, but I was also taught the Bible, but he was never that nice.
Yeah, people always like, they're like, oh, he's mean, he's vengeful, he's wrathful, and of course, there is wrath.
And he's like picky.
And he says
minute detail.
He says in Amos, like, Yahweh is vengeful, he's full of wrath.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like,
but that's not what you see when he's interacting with those people.
Well, when you hear him talk to people, he's very nice. But then you also have these passages about vengeance. And like, people are upset about the quote-unquote vengeful God of the Old Testament. What's interesting is that in art, people who are not biblically literate still end up with a form of righteous vengeance. So it's like, on the one hand, like, you don't want God to be vengeful and wrathful, and you think that it's a flaw of his character that he's vengeful. But then on the other hand, why do we keep having art? Why do we keep having characters like the Punisher? Like this person or Batman.
Yeah. Well.
Right? Like, why do we have characters like that in Western culture?
Punish the bad guys.
Well, I mean, there's a sense in which, like, all of us feel like, what the fuck? Like, some of that shit is too. And with the advent of the internet, we've kind of been able to have like a form of like faux omniscience, like false omniscience, in the sense that, like, you can see a lot more things now. You're aware of a lot more shit now. So, for example, Alec was pointing this out. You know, you don't have the internet and technology, so now you're seeing a lot more shit. Whereas before, if something was within a stone's throw of your village, you may or may not hear of it. Like, for example, in Vikings, you know, something happened back home. Some dude had to cross the ocean to tell him.
And then he had to cross back.
And all. And now it's like instantaneous. So it's like, now we kind of get a glimpse of what it's like to be God, like the trauma of what it must be like to be God. Because it's like, you're seeing all this shit happen simultaneously.
Ugh. Yeah.
So, like, to people that you love.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because, like, there's some days where it seems like, wow, you just keep seeing bad stuff coming across the news.
And, like, these are not even people we know.
Right.
What if you loved intimately every person who's ever been tortured in your life, in the world, and you saw it? Like, right now, there's some dude getting dismembered somewhere in a very fucked up situation. God loves him as I love my own son, right? And you have to see all this shit. So it's like, it's a pretty traumatic experience to be God. So, like, when I see the God of the Old Testament going, I'm full of wrath and all this, I go, well, I mean, yeah. If you love anything or anyone, then you have to be angry when they're getting destroyed. Of course, God's dilemma is, the person that is being tortured, he loves like his own son, and the person that's doing the torturing, he loves like his own son. So that's what people, because immediately as soon as I say that, they go, well, then why doesn't God just stop it? Well, if he stops it, he's got to eradicate the other person he loves like his own son. Which he does from time to time in the Old Testament, right? But it's a very interesting idea of, like, when he's basically, like, I do believe that, like, as a human, like, there is a, like, terminus of what you can see, where people will cross the line and you'll say, I can never forgive them.
Yes.
So, like, you can only absorb so much, like, trauma and evil of humanity, to where, like, you're gonna hit a point where you go, I can't forgive anyone. And I think if anybody could be God for a day, all the violent shit that you see in the Old Testament where God says, I'm gonna wreck everybody, I think people would say, well, okay, well, that...
Yeah, you're probably... Yeah,
that's different, right? Like, You're saying it from your own little perspective and your little sheltered little life where you haven't seen like the blackest forms of human, evil.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like we're watching Vikings and there's like some evil shit that they did and like, and you were like, why did you watch? And I'm like, I have to see like what we're capable of, like how far down we can go, because what's interesting is like the character that was doing this immensely evil torture mechanism on one of his enemies is a good guy that all of us celebrate. And the fact of the matter is,
It's still bothering you to this day.
sure, but if he would have caught an arrow to the neck, you'd feel bad for him. But he's the same one that did that shit to that guy. See what I'm saying? And so it's like, you watch stuff like that and you're able to love him and celebrate his victories when he wins and all that, knowing full well also that he's capable of doing some eminently evil shit.
I know. Yeah.
And I think that that's a dilemma that God finds himself in when you think about the concept of vengeance and anger. Is that it's like you have somebody like, Mr. Lothbrok here, Vladimir Lothbrok, who is, you see so much good in him, but he's also, within the same person, capable of extreme cruelty. But you don't want him to die because you love him. You're growing to love him. Because you see, that's the other side of omniscience. In omniscience, you see everybody doing all the evil shit at the same time, but you also see them doing a lot of good shit too that nobody sees. And you see the good in them, and you see what's redeemable in them. So it's like, okay, well, okay, we'll just give them another day. And you see this conflict within the Trinity almost when that whole, there's a couple times when the members of the Trinity kind of talk each other down from destroying the world. Right? So like, Jesus is pretty pissed off because of David. David did the whole thing, and like he's hovering above the city, and he's about to light up the entire city. He's about to destroy everything. And then the Father says, chill out, don't kill everybody. Right? Or then Jerusalem is not listening, and then it's like, I'm going to dig up this fig tree. Why should it take up the space any longer? And Jesus says, like, give it a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then so it's like they kind of like talk to each other. It's very, very interesting because anyway, that's my way of saying it. It's pretty blasphemous to say, but they talk each other down from wrecking shop almost. But anyway, yeah, it's like,
Well, parenting. I always bring stuff back to parenting, but parenting is like that too. When you're a single mom or single dad, then it's not like that. But like when you have somebody and you're working together as a team,
yeah.
And then there's times where you're like, that's it, he's in for the night.
Right.
And then one of us will be like, yeah,
well, everybody's gonna let him play golf. Yeah.
all right, I'll just let him go to my sister's house.
Right.
I'm sure he'll be better when he gets.
Right. And he's not. But that's yeah. So like that's how I always like laugh when I hear people say, "Oh, those poor innocent people that God flooded in the."
Yeah.
Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like it says the place was filled with violence and their thoughts were only evil continually. That means
That's crazy.
Like that's it. Full stop. So I'm the hand of God, I'm the dark Messiah. That's an interesting. I'm the vengeful one.
I like the sound of it when you say
I'm the hand of. Well, it's such a. So I love playing Street Fighter, right? Street Fighter 2, and then there's this character Ryu who's like this pure warrior, and all he does is live for the fight. The guy with the red headband and the white.
Yes.
Well, as the games progressed and new editions came out, they became this character named Evil Ryu, which oddly enough they just made him darker.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And his eyes became intense, right? So you had good Ryu, which is white, and you had evil Ryu, which is dark. But that's okay. I understand that we're for import and the blatant racism that black people have to deal with every day.
Oh.
So it would be like, what if this ultimate warrior who loved warfare and combat, engagement, what if he became evil?
Yeah.
So then you had evil Ryu.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I always think about your mind.
What do you mean?
Because you're so good. Why are you making those eyes? Because you're so good, and like you use it in like the stuff that you pull out of the scripture. you like pull the stuff out of the scripture and stuff, and everything's so good and stuff. And I'm like, what if all of a sudden like your mind was evil, like all the evil you can do, and you're so strong too?
Okay. Awkward moment.
I'm glad
number
that you
57.
did that. Oh.
But like, it's an interesting concept though, like when he says I'm the dark Messiah, because it's like, what if you had somebody as powerful as Jesus who like
Oh my gosh.
could, I'm not talking about somebody stupid like the Antichrist, because the Antichrist in the Bible doesn't really have a lot of power. He's just kind of like
Yeah.
a faker. But what if you had somebody like as strong as Jesus with that type of power, but was a dark dude that had finally said, you know what, and not
Well,
necessarily.
I think that people think that that's the devil, you know? I think they think he's not as strong as Jesus.
I don't know.
When we talk to people, they seem like they thought that there was like a...
Yeah, but like they don't point to anybody in history and go, okay, that guy was like a rival of Jesus.
No.
What I'm saying is like, what if there was a dude that had that type of power that could like walk the planet Earth?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, because Jesus is saying things like, you know, love your neighbor and all that shit.
Well,
What if there was a vengeful Jesus that
There is
showed
a
up and
vengeful
like took
Jesus.
care and was just like, yo,
yeah, but Jesus is vengeful.
what do you mean?
I mean, when he takes care of business, he does, and he says it explicitly in the scriptures. Like at the end when it says that he went and treaded them out, treaded the people.
Yeah,
and,
he treaded
you know
out
what I
the
mean?
winepress of the wrath of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and he's the angel of the Lord in the Old Testament, and so
Right.
if he's going about,
Yeah, he took care of those Assyrians.
yeah, so I'm saying he is the
144.
vengeful one. But they're saying, but a dark Messiah. I would think that a dark Messiah, like I think that when Jesus does something, even though like we don't see like, you know, he can see everything that we can't see, like you were saying before. Like, so for instance, like when it said that every thought and intention of their heart was evil continuously.
Only.
That's it.
Plus.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I agree. Well, it's interesting. It's like people are so inconsistent when they think about God. Like on the one hand, they're angry at the vengeful God, but on the other hand, they think that Jesus is like too mild. Mm-hmm. You know, he's too mild. You know, forgive.
And we want justice.
Yeah, you want justice for other people.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
If God finally decides He's going to take out all the bad people,
Right.
you wouldn't survive.
Neither would I.
And of course, the craziest idea of Christianity is that God sat up there and said, okay, all these people that I love, like my own son, are being slaughtered and being killed, and somebody has to pay the price for that. Like, I've got to exercise vengeance because it's a principle of justice. Because that's what's consistent with his character, is justice. So he goes, okay, somebody's got to pay for this. Because all these people that I love like my own son are being tortured. So what he does is he actually sends his son to stand in the place of those people.
Right.
And he puts all the wrath and anger that we all deserve for doing all that shit to people. Because one of the hardest things to get people to admit is that they have taken part in making the world a fucked up place to live. Like I'm thinking of a dude right now in our village. I love him to death, but he just will not accept that he has contributed to the fucked upness of the world. And so it's a very interesting. I will say he's rare. But like it's a very interesting thought process. Like, you know,
How can you think that you never did anything to contribute?
I have no idea. That's his mindset. But okay,
You need some self-awareness.
that's why we're so big on it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like it's a God. That's why I'm so fascinated with the character of the God of the Bible, right? Because like he basically said, well, I flooded everybody and killed everybody. But I didn't like that too much. You know, like, and so he's like, okay, well, what's the plan? You know, like he's just a very compelling character to me, and that's why I love him.
So when he says, scroll down. No, where are you going? I said scroll down. So when he says, look inside and see what you're becoming in the blackest moment of dying world, what have you become? Look inside and see what you're becoming. I thought that was going for the media, the people that, you know, that the reporters and stuff like that, and the different people like we were talking about before. But then it seems like it's actually being placed after the Messiah thing. So who's supposed to look inside? Whoever this dark Messiah is?
Well, I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it's like, if you were to take that role as a person and start just like killing everyone, then you would become the thing that you hate.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
But at the same time, it's like, look inside and see what you're becoming is also to all of us.
Yeah.
Because we can blame the media and say the media is so fucked up, look at all that shit. But the media are only doing things for ratings. Mm-hmm. Well, who's giving
the
them
audience?
the ratings?
What do they want? Yeah.
There is an audience.
Right.
There's an audience.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, you can't just put it on the media. The media is a reflection of who we are as people. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, we all have to look and see what we're becoming. Because we're not becoming something very well, especially in this country right now. Like, it's becoming more and more and more polarized. And that there's no one person to blame for it. Like, we've got to everybody wants to blame somebody else for why the world is fucked up. Like, and that's why I'm so big on owning the shit myself and blaming myself first. Because if I can blame myself first, and I can look at what I need to change and fucking change that shit and be a change for good. Mm-hmm. But if you want to sit there and say you've never done anything, then you're never going to be part of the solution. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like the long and the short of it. Yeah. Because like the way we're going with our technology and shit, like there can't be another world war. Like if you just look at the way the world wars went and what technology did and how it contributed to wrecking us. I mean, what are you gonna do past a nuclear bomb? Like,
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a very interesting song, very interesting concept. Vengeance and things like that. Like the concept of vengeance is a real complex topic.
When you think about when somebody takes vengeance, the way that they feel, you just put on any movie, when the character takes vengeance and the faces that they make and like but I think that I wonder if like God is the only one that can take vengeance with pure motives and pure reason behind it. So I wonder if when God takes vengeance, what his face looks like as he takes vengeance.
Well, it's such a because like for example in the Old Testament you had this title, Avenger of Blood.
Yeah.
And so if somebody killed your brother or sister or close family member on accident, even if it was a manslaughter charge, if you were the next of kin, you could function as the Avenger of Blood.
Right.
And you could chase the guy down and kill him. Mm-hmm. If the guy didn't make it to the city of refuge. If you made it to the city of refuge, then you were cool. But then Trump has a wall, so you're fucked. I'm just kidding. But the vengeance is not always a bad concept.
Yeah.
At least from that perspective.
Yeah.
Of course, a person could say, well, no, Vin, that's sin management. And I'd say, because God engages in it, you can't say that vengeance as a principle itself is sinful. Right. The problem for me with vengeance on the human level is that I can't trust myself to execute non-sinful vengeance.
Oh,
because the only way to execute proper vengeance would be to say you dishonored God first and foremost. Mm-hmm. And that's the ultimate reason I'm doing this. Not because you took Sori away from me, but because I'm doing this for the sake of God. And I don't think I'd be able to do that, so I wouldn't be able to be qualified to exact any vengeance. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What say you?
Oh no, I couldn't forget about it. For me to do so, I probably couldn't even imagine. But you know how I am about like dealing with like my anger and stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't think that I could exact vengeance with pure motives. Because first of all, like I get angry, but I think that I'm also like a sensitive person.
Right.
So the only way to overcome that sensitive nature is to be like really hard. And so I think that I would have to be so hard to overcome the sensitivity that it just, the whole thing would just be a mess. Like, I don't think that, like the whole vengeance thing doesn't even come to me easily, but in the sense of if something happened to, one of the kids. That's the thing. And I always say that every single time.
We've got a kid that was obsessed with vengeance for a while.
Oh my gosh. Every little thing.
I will have my vengeance.
He had to. It didn't matter what it was.
And that was his term. I will have my vengeance.
I will have my vengeance. Yes. Everything was about like.
He's got to even the scale.
He had to even it, and like it didn't matter. You ended up getting to the point where you're like, if anything happens to any of your brother's stuff over the next week or 2 weeks, I'm gonna assume you took vengeance. Because, like, you wait,
It was insane.
Pretty opportune moments sometimes. But a lot of times he was just like, you want to get that vengeance right away.
Yeah.
And then he'd be, like, in a good mood after you took vengeance.
Yeah, he would.
No, that's not good.
God almighty.
He's good with it now, though. I think he's grown so much.
He's a beautiful brother.
He is.
You've been good for me. All right, what's the score?
9. I liked it.
7.5.
What? Not 9. I liked it a lot.
7.5 for me. Bit out.
Sorry out.
Don't.
Sleep soundly in your beds tonight.